What's the deal, people? So, first off, man, I just want to say thank you to everybody. You know, watching the videos, commenting and everything. I like the interactions and shit. So, for the most part, I try to answer everybody. There's one dude that subscribed to me, David. I got your email, man, and I'm gonna reply to that today, right? But anyway, I appreciate y'all, man. So today we talk about fuel economy, right? A few people hit me up. You know, I made the video yesterday saying that I'm not spending more than $800 a week in fuel, and so we're gonna talk about fuel economy, right? So as we all know, it's a bunch of things that play a part in, you know, how fuel efficient your truck is. So, you know, for one, is it an aerodynamic truck? Got a Cascadia. I think we can go ahead and check that box. Is it operating properly, right? So are you staying up on your maintenance and getting all that stuff taken care of? Are you running your tires at the proper inflation? Because, you know, under inflation can affect your fuel economy as well. You know, the speed you drive the truck. I said in the video yesterday, I only drive at 65. I might take it up a little faster than that to get around like CR England and them, but then I take it right back down to 65 as soon as I get in front of them. You know what I mean? Because obviously driving over 70 and, you know, it just burns a lot more fuel, and not really into that. You know what I mean? And plus, you know, I'm only gonna get there, you know, maybe an hour earlier throughout, you know. It don't make a big difference, man. So I'd rather save that money on fuel. I'll save that money in fuel versus driving my truck, you know, like a bat out of hell. So that stuff, you know, that all plays a big part of it. Where you're running at, how heavy you're running, as well. So for my truck, for instance, right? Well, not my truck, but everybody's truck. But on my truck, I tend to keep, now obviously this varies depending on how much weight I'm pulling. I typically don't pull a bunch of weight, so I'm cool here. I usually run with my fifth wheel further up. That way it minimizes that gap between the tractor and then the bulkhead of the trailer. You know what I mean? Because the further you got your fifth wheel back, the more wind that can get in there, and, you know, all that shit creating drag and messes with the fuel economy. Along with that, my typical areas, now obviously again this is trucking, so it's not consistent, but the majority, I would say 80% of my loads run between I-10. They're either running on I-10, I-20, I-55. All pretty flat for the most part, especially 10, you know what I mean? I know for a fact that on any of those interstates, my truck will maintain between 8 and 10 miles per gallon that entire trip. So on a single fill up in this truck, I'm getting 1,600 plus miles on a single fill up. And I'm only driving between about 1,800 miles, and then if you include deadhead, 2,000, a little over 2,000 miles if you include deadhead. You know, go and pick the fucking loads up and shit. So about 2,200 miles total. Like I'm usually not driving very much more than that, man. Very, very rarely am I driving more than that. Right? Not to mention, again, and I said this in the video as well, I'm utilizing all the tools, man. So I'm using the apps to find the cheap fuel, because just think, you know, everybody got their hand in our pockets when it comes to this trucking shit. So I'm trying to pinch every penny out of every dollar that I possibly can. So I'm going to the mom and pops, you know what I'm saying? And good example. So I just passed through Virginia today, right? And the fuel in Virginia isn't too bad, but at the Pilot, it's like $3.11 a gallon. I go to the mom and pop, $2.81. So that's where I'm going. That's where I go. You know what I mean? That is where I'm putting my fuel at. saying? And it may not seem like a whole lot in the beginning, but you think over the course of a year, you know what I'm saying, you saving 20 cents off of every single gallon of fuel, you know what I mean? Not to mention, you know, whatever else you may be doing to save money. Like you can save a bunch of money by just, you know, just doing simple stuff. You know, so, and then for instance, so like going into PA, and I forgot about it this time because I had a decent bit of fuel when I was approaching the line to go into Pennsylvania. But I typically put enough fuel before I get into Pennsylvania to get in there and get out of there and not have to touch their fuel pumps whatsoever. And I try to do that in most places. I know all the time it's not possible. Yeah, I got my dog with me. If y'all just seen her walking out, Mama had some shit to do, so I had to bring her with me this time. But anyway, yeah, I try to do that pretty much wherever I'm at. If I know I'm going into a place where the fuel is a little bit higher, I'm gonna try to put fuel at the nearest cheap place that I can find before I get there. That way I can get in, get out, save as much money as I possibly can. And I think the bulk of all of this, and obviously I'm not talking about the guys with experience, because y'all know all of this. I'm talking about, you know, the guys that's new owner operators, and then the guys that's thinking about being owner operators. You know, a lot of this stuff may not dawn on you when you can just pull up to the pump as a company driver and just throw however many gallons you can put in the tank, and then, you know, just drive off. But the idling, I never, ever idle this truck. I don't care if it's 100 degrees. I'm gonna close these curtains, go back there, take my clothes off, and I'm going to sleep as best I can. But I'm not idling my truck. It's not gonna happen. You know, so you think, okay, on average, the truck burns 1 gallon per hour of fuel, right? So if you idling for your 10-hour break, it's already 10 gallons of fuel you burn. Just for simple math, we're gonna say $3 a gallon is, you know, what fuel is everywhere, right? So that's $30 per day that you're burning in fuel just to go to sleep, you know. And you think about, if you dive even deeper, you know, you got guys that idle, they hold 30-minute break, they get to the fuel pump. Some people don't shut their trucks off, they fueling, pull it up, you know, pull up to the line, go in the truck stop, it's still running. Some dudes, it's dudes that'll go in the shower, leave the truck running. They gone for an hour. Damn. They gone for an hour. Truck outside running. For what? Ain't nobody in. What you cooling down up in there? You know what I mean? And then, especially right now, there ain't no need to idle nowhere right now. Well, you know, you might be up there in that blizzard, might have to keep it on. But the idling, bro. The idling is a big deal. You know what I mean? If you out 7 straight days, just the fuel you burn on your 10-hour break, that's $210 in fuel you just pissed away. And for what? I literally, whenever I make my stop for the day, right? So I do 2 checks on my engine. So I'll get here, I'll stop, leave the truck running, that way it can kind of cool back down a little bit. And I get under there, I check out, you know, check the engine, you know, why everything's circulating, and make sure nothing is leaking, whatever, right? And I do the rest of my post trip. Meanwhile, the truck is still running. Then I come turn my truck off, check it again, you know, to make sure, like, okay, now that the fluids ain't circulating, let's check again, see if, you know, make sure nothing is leaking. And that time, I typically have my curtains closed, AC on blast on the front, in the front and in the back. That way it can cool off, you know, it just cool off in here. And then once I turn my truck off, that's it for the rest of the night. I cut my fans on back there and I'm good. You know what I mean? I get to the shipper, my truck is going off. I'm not idling. Like, you know, some of these places, they don't want you to idle, but I just don't do it, me. I don't idle at all. So I'm saving a lot of money there. I'm not driving the truck fast. I'm finding all the cheap places to purchase fuel. And I'm not driving a ton of miles. Again, owner operator. We're not supposed to be chasing miles. If you're chasing miles, you're doing it wrong. You know what I mean? I also, and I stress this in the video too, I'd be sitting, me. You know, I'm not gonna sit on here and lie like I'm on the road all 7 days of the week that I'm out here. No, I'm probably gonna sit 1.5 of them days for sure. Until I find a load that I want, I'm probably sitting, like, you know. It's just part of it, man. For me, again. Because I'm not, like I said yesterday, I'm not running my truck for, you know, $1.20 a mile. Not gonna happen. I'd rather sit, wait, eventually the load I'm looking for is gonna show up. And I'll take it, you know what I mean? So yeah, man, that's just some little simple things you can do. Help keep some money in your pocket when it comes to fueling, you know what I mean? And the fuel economy on your truck. If you got a DD15 in a Cascadia and everything is working right, and you know you're doing everything you're supposed to, you got proper tires on the truck and all that stuff, you should see. Now obviously I'm not talking about in the mountains, which is why I stay the hell away from there most of the time. I do not go up there when I don't have to. You should be seeing between 8 and 10 miles a gallon. I've had a guy with one of them new Volvos let me look in there. His truck was, it said 10.4 on the dash. The highest mine ever has gotten to since I had this truck was 10.2. But again, it's just the little things that I do, man. Little things I do. I'm never pedal to the fucking floor when I'm going. I just accelerate gently. You know what I mean? Pick up speed easy. You know, if you behind me and I'm picking up speed too slow for you, they got another lane over there. Use it. I'm not speeding up because you're back there mad. Go around. You know. But that's just me. That's what I do. You know, just figure that might be kind of helpful to anybody who, I don't know, maybe didn't know that information. So that's all I got, man. If you're on the road, be safe. If you're on an operator, don't be running this cheap ass freight, man. You hear me? Y'all be easy.